like that.
Yeah.
See, we need more things like that for the mental health community.
I don't
really
think it's.
do.
I think it's more or less people doing it.
It is people doing it, and that's
It's not funded by anything else. It's
right.
just,
No,
hey,
these
let's
are
get
all
together.
non-profit organizations that are coming in and
And not even nonprofit. I mean,
It's just
well,
like
I
you
guess
and I.
most of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all it
absolutely,
is.
absolutely. This isn't a nonprofit organization
Yeah,
right here.
look
Not
at
yet.
So
ours.
this
Dumbass
this
sitting
group
here
in particular is
next to a
geared
microphone.
towards both sides of it. It's surviving from attempts and people that are survivors of family members that have.
That have committed suicide.
Correct.
That's a kind of crazy.
Yeah. That's a whole nother topic that we can get into sometime.
Yeah.
Always.
We got a lot of material.
We definitely do, and I tell you what, that's what I love about this podcast in general, and the fact that we didn't decide to limit it to one thing and one thing only.
Right,
So
right.
we can bring anything to the table and discuss, and bring outside people in like Lori Collins to help us generate content to keep the things flowing.
Well,
Listen,
We had to pay her a lot of money to be here.
yeah, for real. She's not cheap, and she came prepared too. She had a
All
stack
this
of papers
paperwork
ready to
with-
school
with-
us. She was wearing her
graphs and
whole.
stuff.
I gave her an apple.
She got a whole.
I'm
she got a
retired.
whole,
I got
she got a whole
nothing else
pie
to do
chart
all
sitting
day.
over there.
But no, that's something you guys can't see. Like when Lori came in here, she came in here with information
Pie
ready
charts
to go.
and
Yeah, she's got pie charts here and everything with information for us. So it's just really good to have someone.
But she didn't
who-
bring no pumpkin pie though.
oh, all right. Well, then next
No
time I'll
snacks?
bring a snack.
But no, it's just good to know that even though you're not being paid to do it anymore, it's still in your heart. And
Absolutely.
that's another reason why I'd mentioned to these guys to have you come out here for this, because it's still in your heart. It's something that you are still very passionate about, and it's obvious for just the way you talk about it that you're still passionate about it, and it's really awesome.
I am. I really, really am. And, you know, I think that I like to see the work that you guys are doing here, and I'd like to see, you know, more people that have successfully been through the system and, like, survived the system, you know, be voices, because that's the only way things are going to change. I mean, contacting, you know, your representatives and Congress, and, you know, going to like these rallies and that sort of thing, and you know, becoming affiliated with some of the big lobby groups, like that's really how change happens.
It's by people making moves.
That's my catchphrase. Anytime somebody starts, you know, bitching about free Narcan, whatever, blah blah blah, and there are grants that fund a lot of these things, right? But it's not free. But these things happen because people keep their voices heard, right? And that's my thing. If you want to perpetuate the way we perpetuate change is by keeping our voices heard, going to these rallies, going to these town hall meetings, and voicing our opinions, and getting other people that are like-minded, that have the same idea and opinion, and getting them together to voice theirs, to join you in voicing your opinions.
So Tony, you posted a picture of Narcan earlier. Now, did you buy that?
No. So I mentioned it the last time we had spoke. Me and Nick we did a training down at the Recovery Center in Easton at Change on 3rd, and the lady came in from Lehigh Valley Health Network. I think
Yeah,
it
she was part of. She's a nurse for street medicine.
Yeah, and she came in, and I think there was like 20 of us or something like that in the
20,
room.
yeah, about 20.
And she did this little seminar where they explained how to administer the Narcan, the proper uses, you know, how to identify an OD and stuff like that, and
doing CPR
doing
while you're
CPR
waiting.
while you're waiting. Like they
Correct.
went over everything,
Because
and we all got a
that's
certificate.
something that they don't talk about often.
Right.
And what we see a lot of is the brain damage from after.
from people not having any type of a heartbeat for like a
And no
minute
blood
or
going-
two, no
Right.
blood
Oxygen.
going through them. It's very important. Like a lot of people don't know that if somebody's ODing, like that you're supposed to. They say any CPR is better than no CPR. So like you should at least be doing some chest compressions as best you can, like just to try to help. But yeah, we took this training, and at the end of the training, not only did we get a certificate stating that we knew how to use Narcan, but they gave us, I think it's
2 doses.
considered 2 doses, but
Usually you need to.
usually you need to, especially
one-
at 2
yeah.
milligrams.
My experience is I've never had to use less than
Right,
2.
but
So
no,
they gave it to you just so you can
it was
have it.
fully. They got a grant through the state for some, I don't know exactly how it works, but they came in and it was all fully paid for, and they taught us how to use it. It was supposed to be specifically for volunteers and workers, so like any volunteers who work at like rehabs and stuff like that, and then workers like CPSs and CRSs who are out there in the field every day that experience it. And like there's other resources like that at the different recovery centers, like they even have like
all the centers of excellence throughout Pennsylvania. You can get free Narcan.
Right. There's resources at all of these places too, and more than just that, like just a place to go to get like an idea of where to find meetings and stuff like that. There's more to it than that. Like I went in there one time because I had a client who handed me a whole thing of medication that wasn't his, and I needed to dispose of it. And they have the stuff there to dispose of it. They have the stuff that you put in with the pills and some liquid, and you shake it up, it dissolves it, and makes it no longer usable. Like there's a whole bunch of crazy resources that you wouldn't even think are out there.
I have something to say about the Narcan. Is that something where that somebody that OSD is that like a free pass?
It's not a free
You would
pass.
say?
It's not a free pass.
So what it is, Narcan.
It makes them sick.
Oh,
as
if I
shit.
overdose, I can just get Narcan.
Nah, because listen, I could tell you from being someone who used to use heroin on a regular basis that Narcan is the last fucking thing you want going in your body.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
what is it? Is it like a?
So the one that I have is a nasal injector. I also have one that injects into the thigh as well. Like I've had it for a while, but that one actually comes with its own trainer. Like you take the top off and it starts
And it
talking
basically
to you.
tells you what to do.
It tells you exactly
Yeah.
what to
it's
do.
like an EpiPen.
Yeah, it's like you take the cap off and it's like, please bear the left thigh, and it tells you to inject for 3 seconds, and it's crazy. But no, it's not a free pass at all, because the last thing that person wants is for you to give them Narcan. They want you,
Yeah, 'cause
honestly,
when they come to, you don't want to be too close to them.
because they're going to be swinging, because now
And
not only did they just come out of that high that they were in, but now they're fucking dope sick, and the only thing they want to do is get rid of that feeling.
So the way the Narcan works, when it hits the system, it attacks the chemical receptors that the opiates are sitting in at that point in time, and it takes them opiates out of those receptors, which is what causes the instant withdrawal symptoms.
So basically, it's like it just takes the opiate out of effect. Like it stops it from being affecting
It
you.
blocks
anymore.
it. It's a
blocks
blocker.
it completely.
Right.
I got
and
you.
It does not. It's not fun when it
Have
happens.
any of you had?
I have.
Yes.
Yes. I woke up
Twice.
in the ambulance and was just like, "Why the hell did you do this?"
I woke
Like,
the first
it's
time.
so crazy that you think like that too, because you're like, you should have just let me fucking die. Like I remember saying that to people, like you should just let me fucking die. And like you don't realize when you're in that mindset the things that you're saying, I guess, because now looking back, I'm just so grateful that they didn't let me die.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and that's another big thing. Like I see a lot of people that are just like, oh, if they're ODing, just let them die. That's Lori
That's
said
so
this the other day.
inhumane.
That is so inhumane. Like that's somebody's kid. That's probably somebody's father, somebody's mother. Like those kids, if their parent wasn't brought back, now like that whole family is affected. Like it's not just about the individual; it's about everybody that is affected by that individual, and that's the broader thing that people don't look at. They look at the
They just look at
individual.
junkies.
They look at junkies, and they're like, "Oh, we'll just let him fucking die," and don't worry about the fact that he's got a 4-year-old kid that now, after her father dies, is going to be highly susceptible to being the same type of human being her father was, because
I mean, you can look at that all different kind of ways
Right.
too. I mean, you can look at the person. Oh, if he had a 4-year-old daughter, why is he doing
right.
drugs? And he should care more
because
about.
that's the passion of
It's-
addiction.
Right.
It's all about that drug, and
Yeah.
it's.
And it's not that they don't love their child.
I
You
totally
know?
get it. I've never been in that situation, but I totally get it.
yeah. I mean, but again,
That's
like
another subject.
addiction. Addiction is
We're
not.
diverting again.
Yeah, but it's part of the mentally ill part, because addiction is a mental illness now. It's considered that is no longer.
It has been.
It's on the mental illness spectrum. We covered that our
Well,
our
it's in
first
the
podcast.
DSM.
Yeah, like there's the 5 major parts of mental illness, and one of them is addiction.
One of the biggest misconceptions about Narcan too is that people think it's a life-sustaining drug, and it's absolutely not.
It is
It
in
is-
the moment life.
In that
saving.
moment.
Right. So like if a diabetic has a blood sugar crash and they bottom out, the EMT that shows up is going to give them a glucose shot, which is going to bring them out of their diabetic seizure. Right. That's the same thing that Narcan
That's
does.
the same thing Narcan is. It's like
Narcan
glucagon.
it's in the moment. There it is. It's not a permanent treatment process.
It's something from keep them from dying.
In the
Correct.
moment. In the moment.
In the
But
moment.
That does not treat all that does is treat a symptom of the underlying problem.
Correct.
That's it. The underlying problem is almost in all instances.
They
in
need
almost
more
all
treatment
instances,
afterwards.
the underlying
Correct.
problem is mental health.
Absolutely. And I think, when Narcan first came out, that we were seeing a lot of that is, people being Narcan brought to the hospital and then they just walk out. And I know a lot of police officers would get frustrated because they'd be like, well, we're going to this, and EMTs, going to the same places, same people over and over again. Why not just let them die? And I've heard them say that, well, the problem is the way we handle it. We shouldn't just be giving someone Narcan and say, okay, well, here you go. On your way. Have a great day now.
Yeah, don't do that again.
Yeah, don't do it again. We should be bringing them to the hospital, doing an assessment right then and there. I mean, what better time to assess for treatment than you just overdosed? Don't tell me that you don't have a problem, because you can fight that denial when that comes out real easy then.
Mm-hmm.
You just overdosed.
Absolutely.
Tell me you don't need
It's
treatment.
a problem.
Yeah,
It is a problem.
definitely.
They are a problem.
Big problem.
Just get rid of them. Let them die.
No.
Oh my
Everybody's-
God.
That's everybody's what they say.
It is. It is.
And it's a hassle for them.
And
they,
you know
they
what?
Don't want to treat it.
The people that say those types of things are the ones that have not been affected by it. But at some point in
Yeah.
time, they probably
but
will
it's the
be.
number one killer in
Right.
young adults right now in America. It's the number one killer.
Absolutely.
Surpasses car
Absolutely
accidents by tenfold.
So, now I know you haven't been in the scene for like a year now, but like in your experience, did they have Narcan in the prisons?
Yeah, it's in the prisons.
Was that something new that you had seen added in your 10 years while you were
I
working?
never really saw it in the prison. I never really saw it used or anything like that because my visit to the prison basically was either sometimes I would go on the block, depending on where they were located at the prison, and other times I'd just be in that little intake room.
Yeah.
I didn't really see like a whole lot.
Gotcha.
I started carrying it it was, I want to say about 6 months before my brother died. I started carrying it, and I'll tell you what, I'm bringing my kids to the movies. I bring Narcan with me. You never know.
Yeah, I keep it on me. Like,
Yeah,
I was actually just told that on Christmas Eve there was a meeting in Allentown, a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and a woman that was attending the meeting went into the bathroom and used and came out and OD'd in the room like while the meeting was going on, and almost everybody in that meeting
Had Narcan.
Had Narcan, and like they
Thank
had
God.
they had more trouble like debating whose Narcan they were going to use.
then debating
Then-
on whether or not they were bringing it back.
Right. Instead of just taking the
Well, I
action.
guess that's a positive thing to come out of that they were
Yeah.
debating on whose they were
And-
going
and
to
I mean,
use
she
rather
lived.
than
That
whether
woman
or
did
not
live.
they were going to use.
Thank God.
That woman did live because, to be honest with you, she couldn't have done that in a better place.
Now,
Yeah.
Now, we talked about how they indefinitely treat drug addicts differently throughout the prison systems, and indefinitely treat the mentally ill different. What have you seen is the treatment of women in the prison systems coming along? What in your experience? Because I'm not a woman and I've never been to that. So, what is in your experience? What are some things that you are seeing that you think should be a little different in the way the women are being handled? Because one thing
Well, I
see,
think that they should just get them regular tampons.
I don't
Wow.
know nothing about.
They don't. Yeah, I know you know nothing about that, but they don't issue tampons.
Okay.
They give them diapers.
Ouch.
So that's number one right there. But I think it's the complaints that I saw were basically the same. I mean, it's less crowded over there on that side.
Oh, I want to talk about that too. Now, the reason I think, and personally, from what I see, it's less crowded is women tend to be treated a little bit differently in the system, and not in a bad way necessarily, but a good way.
Well, even at the time of arrest.
Yeah, even at the time of arrest, it's totally different for a woman than it is a man. Things are completely different. But like women during sentencing, usually, in my experience, from what I've seen anyway, end up with much lighter sentences than men.
Depending on the judge.
Okay.
That's all depending on the judge. because I've seen it reverse.
Okay.
So yeah, that definitely depends on the judge. But what I will say is, once they're in, they're crazy on the women's side. I mean.